Photoshop file for you if you are choosing to use Photoshop for your project. You could choose to use Photoshop two different ways. You can start and end in Photoshop, or you can start in Photoshop and then end in Illustrator. The reason why you would end in Illustrator is if you're adding any custom fonts to your design. So that means the main design is done in Photoshop and then the typeface would all be completed inside Illustrator at the end. You do not want to use type inside of Photoshop. It just doesn't come out as clean and neat as you're going to want it to. So let's take a look at the artboard. So this template was made a little bit bigger than the size of the mock-up that you're going to use, because this is considered your bleed. So the red that you're seeing, or if you don't see red, this edge right here is considered the bleed line. You can take your background or any images you don't mind getting cropped off into that area. Then we have this protected space. So anything you don't want cropped off, you want to keep inside of this area. All right, so let's go ahead and go to our layers panel, which I have actually, oh no, I have not lost, it is here. And we are gonna go up to File and we're gonna do Place Embedded. So this looks a little different than Illustrator. It's called Place Embedded. And we're gonna double click on our sketch. And I'm gonna try my best to get it to stretch out. It's gonna look a little bit blurry until we set the transform, so don't worry if it's a little bit pixelated. And I'm gonna bring this all the way to the edge. Okay, I'm gonna double check, yeah. All right. We're gonna be turning off our sketch layer, so this isn't going to show when we are finished. Right, let me bring it down just a little bit. I think I lost some of the top. And hit return. Now the thing that's a little frustrating for me with Photoshop is that it doesn't show anything outside here in the workspace you're not using. Whereas Illustrator will actually show you your entire sketch. It's there, it's just you don't see it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go where my sketch is and I'm going to open it up and I'm going to have it to the side so that I can, or if you even have the original paper, you can do that too. I just need to be able to see it. Okay. And then I'm going to lower the opacity to my sketch just a little bit. You may not have to, depending on how dark your lines were. And I'm going to lock this layer. All right, so you don't start creating your layers ahead of time like you do in Illustrator when you're in Photoshop, because Photoshop automatically makes the layers for you. So I'm gonna think about my first layer, which happens to be my background, and that I'm gonna do by creating a rectangle. And I also wanna use the color swatches that I have saved in my library. So in my skateboard project, I chose to use this color swatch. Now, if you choose to use colors beyond these colors, that's okay. But you need to try to incorporate these. If you were hypothetically to change this entire color scheme, you would have to talk to your client and let them know that you made a design decision to change the color palette. Okay, I'm gonna come over here to my rectangle. And I've already been experimenting with this, so my color's in there, but in case that color is not in there, let's say it's white, I would come over here to my layers and click on it, the color that I'm looking for, come back over here and choose the color. Don't make a black outline for your backgrounds, because that, or even your images, be very careful that you send it all the way to the edge, because you don't want that to end up in your mock-up. I'm going to take my rectangle and I'm going to stretch it all the way out, past, up to the red line. I want it to completely cover my artboard. Okay, and none of my sketch should be showing. Now, this is nice, but I want to turn it off. And I also want to name it, so I'm going to color this, or name this background, And then I'm going to start working on my second layer, but I can't see it. So you can lock it if you want to, or just click the eyeball and then think about how you're going to draw the rest of it. So if you're in Photoshop, I guarantee you're probably thinking about painting your images. So if that's the case, I would highly recommend you're using a Wacom tablet. I do have some new ones that you can experiment with. And grab that paintbrush and just start painting comfortably the way that you want to. When you are done, you should have all of your layers labeled. You should have a completed design, and you want to have the sketch turned off. So everything should be turned on except for the sketch, and you are officially ready to save it as a Photoshop file to your computer, and you are ready to export it as a ping. The ping is going to be what you're turning in for this assignment, because remember, Photoshop files and Canvas are not friends. It takes way too much memory. And the ping is also going to be used for your mock-up later.